What if I told you that the world's richest man paid zero federal income taxes in 2018, while you were handing over 25% or more of your paycheck to the IRS? Elon Musk, worth over $200 billion, paid absolutely nothing. But here's the kicker. It's completely legal. And today, I'm going to break down exactly how he does it, using his $44 billion Twitter acquisition as our masterclass. By the end of this, you'll understand why the ultra-wealthy play by completely different tax rules and how some of these strategies might actually apply to you. Let me paint you a picture that will blow your mind. According to leaked IRS files from ProPublica, between 2014 and 2018, Elon Musk had a true tax rate of just 3.27%. That's lower than a McDonald's worker. In 2018 alone, when his wealth increased by billions, he paid zero federal income taxes, not a penny. Meanwhile, the average American worker pays around 22% in federal taxes, plus state taxes, Social Security, Medicare, the works. So how is this possible? How does someone worth more than the GDP of most countries pay less in taxes than a school teacher? The answer lies in three words that have revolutionized how the ultra-wealthy think about money: buy, borrow, die. This isn't some shady offshore scheme. It's a perfectly legal strategy that takes advantage of how our tax system actually works. Here's the basic framework. Step 1. Buy. Instead of taking a salary, Musk receives compensation in Tesla stock options. When Tesla's stock price goes from $6 to $1,200 per share, Musk's paper wealth explodes. But here's the crucial part. Unrealized gains aren't taxed. Think about it. If you buy a house for $300,000 and it's now worth $500,000, you don't pay taxes on that $200,000 gain until you sell. Same principle, but with billions of dollars in stock. Step 2. Borrow. Now here comes the genius part. When Musk needs cash, whether it's to buy a $44 billion social media company or just pay for groceries, he doesn't sell his Tesla stock. Instead, he uses it as collateral for loans. Banks are happy to lend to him at incredibly low interest rates, sometimes as low as 2–4%, because his Tesla stock is backing the loan. And here's the beautiful part. Borrowed money isn't considered income by the IRS, so it's not taxable. Step 3. Die. When Musk eventually passes away, his heirs inherit his Tesla stock at its current market value. This is called a stepped-up basis. All those unrealized gains from $6 to whatever Tesla is worth at that time, the tax liability disappears completely. His heirs can then sell the stock and pay zero capital gains tax on the appreciation that happened during Musk's lifetime. Let's see this strategy in action with Musk's most audacious move, buying Twitter for $44 billion. When Musk announced the Twitter deal in 2022, he structured it brilliantly. $21 billion from his own equity, $12.5 billion in loans backed by his Tesla stock, $13 billion in traditional debt financing. That $12.5 billion loan secured by Tesla shares, that's the buy, borrow, die strategy on steroids. Instead of selling $12.5 billion worth of Tesla stock, which would have triggered massive capital gains taxes potentially costing him $3–4 billion, he borrowed against it. Let's do the math. If he sold stock, $3–4 billion in taxes. If he borrowed, maybe $300–500 million per year in interest. That's a potential tax savings of over $3 billion just on this one transaction. But wait, there's more. That interest he pays on the loan? In many cases, it's tax deductible if used for business purposes. Let's put Musk's tax avoidance in perspective with some mind-blowing numbers. According to Tesla's SEC filings, by 2024, Musk had pledged 238 million Tesla shares as collateral, worth approximately $43.5 billion at recent stock prices. Think about that. He's essentially turned $43.5 billion of stock into a giant ATM that he can withdraw from without ever paying capital gains taxes. The average interest rate on these securities-backed loans is typically 2–6%. Even at 6%, that's only $2.6 billion per year in interest on $43.5 billion borrowed. Compare that to the potential $10+ billion in capital gains taxes he'd pay if he sold the stock outright. And remember, loan proceeds aren't taxable income, so he gets $43.5 billion in spending power while paying zero income tax on it. This isn't just about Musk being clever. Our tax system is literally designed to favor this approach. When you get a regular job, taxes are withheld before you even see your paycheck. You're taxed on ordinary income at rates up to 37% for high earners. But investment gains? Only taxed when you sell. This creates a massive incentive to never sell. For years, interest rates were near zero. Musk could borrow at 2 to 3% while his Tesla stock was growing 50% plus annually. It's like getting paid to borrow money. Banks compete to lend to billionaires. Musk gets preferential rates that ordinary people could never access. The more you're worth, the cheaper it becomes to borrow. Now, this strategy isn't without risks. If Tesla's stock price crashes, banks can force Musk to sell shares to pay back loans. This actually happened to some degree in 2022 when Tesla stock fell significantly. Tesla even warned about this in SEC filings. If Elon Musk were forced to sell shares, such sales could cause our stock price to decline. When interest rates rise, the cost of borrowing increases. If borrowing costs exceed the appreciation rate of assets, the strategy becomes less attractive. Musk's wealth is largely illiquid. He can't easily access small amounts of cash without going through the loan process. Politicians are increasingly targeting this strategy. Proposed billionaire taxes could change the rules of the game. You might be thinking, this is interesting, but I'm not a billionaire. How does this apply to me? Actually, more than you might think. Home equity lines of credit. Instead of selling your house to access its value, you can borrow against it. Same principle, smaller scale. Many brokerages offer securities-based lines of credit for portfolios as small as $100,000. You can borrow against your investment portfolio at rates often lower than credit cards or personal loans. Cash value life insurance allows you to borrow against the policy's value, often tax-free. You can borrow from your own 401k retirement account, though this has limitations. The key principle: the wealthy understand that debt can be a tool, not just a burden. When used strategically, borrowing against appreciating assets can be more tax-efficient than selling them. This strategy has sparked massive political debate. When billionaires pay lower effective tax rates than middle-class workers, it raises serious questions about tax equity. Proposed solutions include mark-to-market taxation, taxing unrealized gains annually, wealth taxes, minimum tax rates for billionaires, and limits on securities-backed lending. Musk did eventually pay taxes, a record $11 billion in 2021, but only because he was forced to exercise stock options that were expiring. The Biden administration proposed taxing unrealized gains for the ultra-wealthy. While it hasn't passed, the political pressure is building. Here's what this really reveals about our financial system. The wealthy aren't just playing the same money game with more money, they're playing a fundamentally different game with different rules. While most people focus on increasing their income, the ultra-wealthy focus on accumulating assets that appreciate faster than their borrowing costs. Many of these strategies become more powerful as your wealth increases. It's a system that tends to make the rich richer. Most people simply don't know these strategies exist. Financial education in schools certainly doesn't cover how to borrow $44 billion against your stock portfolio. Let me leave you with the essential lessons. Understand the tax code. The ultra-wealthy have teams of experts finding every legal advantage. At minimum, understand how your own taxes work. Think in assets, not just income. Building wealth often means shifting from trading time for money to accumulating appreciating assets. Debt can be a tool. When used strategically against appreciating assets, debt can be tax-efficient and wealth-building. The system rewards patience. The longer you can hold appreciating assets without selling, the more tax-efficient your wealth-building becomes. Scale matters. While you can't replicate Musk's exact strategies, understanding the principles can help you make better financial decisions at your level. Elon Musk's tax strategy reveals both the genius and the controversy of our current financial system. While his methods are legal, they highlight massive inequities in how different classes of people are taxed. Whether you think this is brilliant tax planning or a fundamental flaw in our system probably depends on which side of the wealth gap you're on. But here's what's undeniable. Understanding how money really works at the highest levels gives you insights that can improve your own financial strategies, regardless of your current wealth level. The game is rigged, but at least now you know some of the rules. Remember, it's not about how much you make, it's about how much you keep.